An official welcome and hello. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming. We are glad that you are here on the workshop on strategies to implement bioeconomy in primary and secondary education. And you'll see we have many interesting people here who have already experienced that topic and who can tell you a lot about it and then discuss with us how to implement it. We are here from the Bloom project mainly. You heard already our coordinator, Judith Feichtinger. She's also here with us in the room. Myself, also working on the Bloom project. Both we are from the Center for Social Innovation in Vienna. And we have Ageda and Vasiliki from the European School Net here. And they mainly work together with the teachers. And we have many teachers here from different countries. The next slide, please. And luckily, two of them came again, although it was a disaster on Monday afternoon. So thank you very much, especially Stella and Semi, that you really came again, dare to come, and you'll tell about your experiences later on. First of all, Ageda will tell us about European Schoolnet and the work they have done within the Bloom project. And then one by one, we have the inputs from our teacher guests here, and then we open up the discussion. So we should suggest that you keep your questions after all the inputs, and then we can first answer some burning questions and then step into the discussion. Yesterday, we were instructed that only two persons at the same time could open their cameras, but I think here in Zoom, it's working much more better and more convenient. So let's open the camera that we can see each other and use the chat function for your questions, but you can open also your microphone later in the discussion if you want to give an input. We are not so many. So then please, let's get started, and please, Ageda, for your input. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilse. So good morning, everybody. Now, if you're attending today's workshop, of course, you're already convinced of the importance of bioeconomy and even more of ensuring that students know what it means and how it works from as young as possible. So the issue is, how can we get the topic included in classrooms in primary and secondary education? So that means starting from 3-4 years old, all the way to 18 or 21, depending on the country. Now, what teachers actually teach is determined by the curriculum. Now, this curriculum might be very generic or per subject and age group. It really varies depending not only on the country, but even the region in many countries. Now, if you imagine the curriculum to be like the bookshelves in this image, you can see that if you want to add a new topic, a new book, you would actually have to remove something else. Or even if you think of a book itself that has a number of chapters and you want to add a chapter on bioeconomy, unless you remove another chapter, the book is going to be thicker and you cannot fit it back into the overall curriculum. So how do you do it then if we cannot do it that way? Now, while we wait for ministries of education to decide whether the topic warrants a chapter on its own or even a book, and what will they remove to include this new chapter or book, is provide add-ons, kind of like they do in mobile. So extra activities that complement what is already in the books. So you're not competing with the other topics, but enhancing and supporting what's already there. And that's what we've done in the Bloom project, where with the help of 20 amazing teachers, we have worked on what is bioeconomy and how can it complement existing topics in different subjects. So we created 5 learning scenarios on bioeconomy, and they tackled it from different points for different subjects and for taking into account different points of view. Now, once we had those learning scenarios, we created, as Judy was saying in the plenary, an online course to help other teachers use these learning scenarios. And we had almost about 800 participants, so we're talking about reaching over 10,000 students. Thanks to that online course, we had 6 more learning scenarios created by the participants of the MOOC that were very good examples and complemented the existing learning scenarios. And if there's anybody in the audience that is not aware of what a learning scenario is, it's just a guide for a teacher on how to implement something or how to integrate it into their classes. And then we launched competitions trying to see how were teachers using those learning scenarios, how were they actually going to their classroom and integrating bioeconomy in the classes. With that, we collected 8 stories of implementation, stories from the teachers like, well, I grabbed this learning scenario, this is how it worked, and this is how we used it. And I have to say, though, that of course, I'm not a teacher myself, or Ilse or Judith neither. So I want to say that, well, don't take our word for it. So we're going to hear today's stories from the teachers and who will share their experiences, address important aspects to take into account when integrating bioeconomy in education. And if you have any doubts, please don't hesitate to ask them or us as well.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Agata. And that's why we have the teachers here who already experienced the topic and also implemented Bloom materials. So the first of them is Sepp Erman from Belgium. Please, I think Agata is moving the slides and you have to tell her. And I will take the time. It's 5 minutes sharp per input.
Okay, great. Good morning. I'm Seppe. I'm a secondary school teacher and I teach STEM in Belgium, the Flemish region. While bioeconomy is not really a specific subject in our curriculum, STEM education is, and this has a few benefits. STEM education is multidisciplinary, so it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and incorporates all those subjects, usually in projects. So by a specific topic or subject. And it does this by problem-based learning and inquiry-based learning. So in general, a problem can be from society or in their daily lives, or students, if they encounter a problem, how do you solve it? Or if I ask them a question or show them something, how does something work? And we research and do a project about that. And there's also a lot of 21st century skills involved, cooperation, computer skills, communication, and all those. So very skills needed in the 21st century and in the job market later. And the curriculum itself, there are a lot of things in the curriculum we can also connect to these subjects from bioeconomy, like sustainability. Also, the SDGs are trickling down into the education system. And a lot of SDGs can be linked to bioeconomy as well. And citizenship, especially global citizenship for taking responsibility for climate change and pollution, etc., can be linked in our curriculum at least to those bioeconomy subjects. You can go to the next slide. I was also involved in making one of the projects in the Bloom school box. I added the link as well, but if you go to the site, you can find it. No, you don't have to click it. So those are essentially STEM projects about the subjects of bioeconomy, and they're all multidisciplinary. They can be used as a template or a stepping stone into making your own, so you can build on them. I also put in the SDGs at the right side. So there's a lot of opportunity to link SDGs, to link subjects like affordable and clean energy, can be engineering and physics, industry and innovation can be design and engineering, life on land, life below water is biology. And so citizenship, for instance, climate action, responsible consumption, even economics, because direct work and economic growth. So bioeconomy has a lot of it is very interesting to integrate in STEM subjects, and a lot of curriculum goals can be linked to it. And the last slide, my last slide at least. Why do we like this approach in our school, and why do I like it, our students like it, is motivation. They have the feeling they're solving real problems. They are finding solutions to questions they have or can't answer. The context is important because they learn in a context of the SDGs, and it's not just learning something because they have to learn, it's learning to solve a problem. And there's also transfer because a lot of subjects are linked together. A big problem in education is when you learn something in a specific subject, you don't make the transfer of that what you learned to another subject. And if they are in a in a STEM subject, for instance, you do transfer those to your daily life and other subjects. So that was my presentation. I think I'm in time, so thank you.
Absolutely in time. Thank you very much. We can also use functions like this, for example, to give you at least a virtual applause. Thank you very much, Seppe. I think we can go on to the next speaker. Please, if you have questions, put in the chat or save it for later. And the next one comes from Italy, Constantina, please, on growing plastic, a new life for plastic. Constantina, how are you today? Please open your microphone that we can clearly hear you. You have to open your microphone. It's on the left bottom corner. Yes, here you are.
I'm a secondary school teacher and I teach chemistry and natural science. And I work in this learning scenario with Zeppe, work in the same learning scenario. Yes. In the first slide, we have, we can see, it's possible. Okay, this is the second slide for me, because in the first slide, we have the objective, the picture. It's no problem. No, okay. We have the sum of 70 goal of the 2030 agenda in the first slide, but it's not a problem. This is the second slide for me. The future for the world is bioeconomy, recycle and use biodegradable material. This is the phrase for one of my students. And in this learning scenario, the topic was bioeconomy, biology, technology, engineering, environmental education, chemistry, and statistics. This learning scenario takes the issue of plastic pollution, and aims to familiarize students with bioplastic. But the student and teacher with student reflected, why is there so much plastic on planet Earth? This is very important. Because plastic is versatile, lightweight, flexible, moisture resistant, strong, and inexpensive. This is a big problem. All is the problem because we have a lot of plastic in the planet Earth, but in my city too. Another slide, please. The second slide. Okay. This is a part of the activity of a student, and the student analyze in the first step video, photos, but also went to the beaches. And in the beaches, this is a fantastic beach in the summer. We live in front of the sea, but in winter, the sea deposited garbage, and the student analyze this garbage, have this graphic, and 30% of total is plastic. It is a very impressive for this result. We have a total glass, other total wood, but plastics is the 8%. Yes. How is all this possible? In a student worked in 1 year, and in a cycle way, such as the bioeconomy and the circular economy. Student in the first step analyze a picture, video, document about plastic pollution. And they classify the solution, identify solution by the biopolymers, and investigate bioplastic and their property. Work in the lab in different activity, and during this activity, students make plastic from garbage. Students investigated and they created a new and they made a new life in the plastic because they created a 3D model using 3D printer and recycled plastic. Then the student use circular activity like a circular Bioeconomy, and they have given new life to plastic by creating yellows, massage bags, and another object. Slide, please. The goal with this learning scenario is that the circular economy helps to achieve this goal. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, gender equality, clean water, create job. The student understand that the respect for the planet is the opportunity for a new job, green job. Recycle plastic and life underwater, because students understand a part of the goal of the 2030 agenda. In this slide, we can see the activity for our student. When the student analyze beaches and classify plastic.
Constantina,
yes.
time is up. Please slowly come to an end. Thank you.
They classify different type of plastic, analyze microplastic in water salad, in water, simple water, or in water with in Italy, inquinata. I don't know. Okay, this is, they observed and analyze microplastic and the microplastic in the cosmetic. They produced bioplastic with garbage, with potato or different type of garbage. They created and made new life for plastic. This is a gene platform, the print, 3D print, and disseminate a lot of in different conferences the Bloom activity and our scenario.
Please, the next slide, Agata, then we see the dissemination activities. Yes, exactly.
Student me dissemination this Bloom or Bloom activity in Vienna during the gift conference, then in Italy in Notte Europea di Ricercatori, in a big event called Scienze in Piazza, and in different science event in my country.
Thank you very much, Constantina. Big
Sorry
applause
for my
to you too.
terrible English, but I speak this type of English. I speak very well in Italian.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Maybe we can share also some links later on to the participants of this workshop if you want to tell more details on your activities. Then I would like to hand over to Semir from Turkey, please.
Good morning and hello everyone.
Hello.
I would like to first of all thank you for participation. My name is Semih Sendemir. I have been working as a teacher science and technology in Turkey. I'm working primary school. Today I will present to you my project, Bioeconomy for Sustainable Our Future. As a science teacher, I have limited knowledge of the concept of bioeconomy. However, next page, Agata, thanks. In 2019, I attended the Boosting Bioeconomy Knowledge in Schools training organized by European Schoolnet and Bloom. In this training, I had the opportunity to get to know bioeconomy more closely. I also discovered how I could use bioeconomy in my classroom, in my school, in primary school. After that, next page, Geta. think. In 2020, I had the chance to apply bioeconomy in my classroom with the Bloom Stories competition. I took part this competition with my project named Bioeconomy for Sustainable Our Future. Next page. I aimed to make my students learn about bioeconomy, first of all, and increase their awareness of bioeconomy by meeting the concept of bioeconomy at an early age. In this project, yes, next page. Next, yes, okay. In this project, my students make various kinds of products, fruit peels, for example, surface cleaner, disinfectant, vinegar, tea, and cream, hand cream, like that. And my students, they prepared posters, next page, Agueda. They prepared posters and some advertisements for the products they obtained, especially coronavirus. And I made some difficulties while implementing my project. Next page, please. First of all, the concept of bioeconomy is not included the science curriculum of my country. Besides, there are no Turkish videos, animations, and resources on bioeconomy. For this, I prepared a video and games for my students. For example, in Turkish animation for bioeconomy, and I prepared the puzzles and matching games for bioeconomy, some web tools. They use web tools. And since bioeconomy is a very new field in my country, I couldn't set up bioeconomy career connections, unfortunately. This is bad, but my project is very good results. Next page. Yes, as a result of the project, my students actively took part in the process, became familiar with the concepts of bioeconomy, and they contribute to bioeconomy by transforming the organic wastes they generated their homes into usable new products. My students gained a unique perspective and their environment and bio-waste. I think I can inspire my students for a beautiful and sustainable world. For teachers, the Bloom School Box can be a good starting point, I think. I hope the view what that the teachers should choose a learning scenarios suitable for their children, their students level, and try the bioeconomy concept in their classroom. More teachers and learners, students need to be aware of bioeconomy and can reach trainings related to the concepts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for attentioning. Have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you too. Thank you very much. And also mentioning already some of the needs required and also barriers you encountered. And I think we have time later on to discuss these as well as we formulated some of these key questions we would like to discuss with you. But first of all, please, let's continue to Stella, to Israel. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning, fine, thank you, from Israel. I'm Stella, a STEM biology and chemistry teacher at Samarot Ayalon Secondary School in Tel Aviv. And I'm a part, next slide please, of the great team of Portuguese and Israeli teachers, and we developed a Bloom scenario. Next slide, please. Building a new environmental future, which you can find at this Bloom School box. Please, next slide. Okay, during our Bloom project, we trained teachers. And when I come to train teacher, they ask me, bioeconomy, what is it about? What is it? Is it about biology, economy, biochemistry, and or maybe environment? And in which class should we teach it? Because like my colleagues said, it's not appear in our Israeli curriculum for primary and secondary school. So next slide, please. When teacher come to teach bioeconomy, they should learn this subject by themselves before or have some training. And we find some good resources, for example, a Citra Finnish site about bioeconomy that have very nice scientific articles and publication. You can see them at the next slide. For example, some like about sustainable bioeconomy, natural resources, in Finland and also in Europe. And after teachers become aware of these materials, they also can bring them to their students at secondary school. Also, we find materials, we divide our scenario for primary school and for secondary school. So for secondary school, at the next slide, you can see the materials that we find and good resources for training, for practicing, because after a teacher teach this bioeconomy subject, we want students to be active and to practice the materials by themselves. So we find very nice quizzes, interactive quizzes and games. And for example, next slide, please, you can see the question in one of the quizzes about the careers in biofuels industries. So through the quiz, students are becoming to be aware of bioeconomy careers. Also, we find very nice games like Jeopardy games, where the classes can be divided to some teams, and every team can pick up a category and the amount of points. And when they pick up at the next slide, you can see an example. They have a definition, and according to the definition, they must think about the term. And here you can see an example about the sustainability term and its definition. And of course, it's nice when there is a competition at class. It's very active and students like it very much. For next slide, please, for primary school students, we also find very nice resources. For example, a colorful book where they can find all bioeconomy processes. So they can also, the class can be divided to teams, and every team has a different picture with bioeconomy processes. They can color together the picture, and then they can explain the process that they see on the picture to their peers in the class. And it's also very nice activity, and they see it through pictures. They don't have a lot of verbal materials for that. And next slide, please. And now during these days, most of us teach from home, and students also learn through Zoom or Teams through internet. So for that target, we find BioStep material. It's a very good material because it has a virtual exhibition, bioeconomy exhibition. So students can discover this subject by themselves. They can find different categories and find some bioeconomy products that they have in their everyday life. For example, in the bathroom, kitchen, living room, and garage. The areas that they meet in their life. And also after they are exposed to the materials and learn them, they also can practice it by interactive ways. There are some quizzes and some games. So my message and our message for teachers Next slide, please. It's let's bring bioeconomy to every student, primary, secondary, higher education, because everybody can find something of this beautiful subject for them. So thank you very much.
Thank you too. So this is already a recommendation and a nice goal. Thanks a lot. So last but not least, we have Honorata from Portugal here. Is she here? Good morning, Honorata. The floor is yours, please.
So Honorata has not been able to join from what we can see. So
Oh, no, she's not here, unfortunately. Do we have any message from her via email also?
We don't, but Vasiliki can share a bit about what we know about her presentation.
That's great. Yes, please. Thanks a lot for that.
Hello, everyone. I will share with you about actually the opportunities of professional development that Bloom project had for our teachers. Honorata participated in a competition after she completed the MOOC, which we launched for raising awareness and raising professional development for teachers and for teachers for both primary and secondary education. In this MOOC, teachers had the opportunity to engage with innovative learning resources and teaching materials that were published in the Bloom School books. And Honorata actually completed the MOOC, and at the end of the MOOC, in order to assess our teachers, they had to develop a learning scenario like the pilot teachers, which already presented did. And she actually presented a very good learning scenario. She participated in one of the competition, and she actually won an award. The learning outcomes were impressive. Children really engaged, and they created pictures, and it was evident that they had acquired knowledge about bioeconomy, but also they understood how important it was. It was one step. It is evident from our research that further teacher development is needed, because of course this was one MOOC. You cannot do everything with one MOOC, but it is good seeing the efforts and seeing that it actually has impact in classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, and thank you for filling in here. I'm very sorry that we could not have Honorata here. And now we can open the discussion room, but first of all, are there any questions to our speakers here and on their experience? Any detailed questions to the inputs, to this excellent inputs we got from our teachers here? Do you have any questions? You can use the chat function at any time, or just raise the hand, or just open your microphone. Do you have questions to the speakers? And also, Ageda, I think we share the slides later on to our participants, or please contact Ageda or somebody of us if you want to have further information. What you already mentioned during your inputs, and I think this is very relevant to be discussed here, is that you faced some barriers by implementing these activities. Like, for example, you said that there is not the curriculum where you could really teach bioeconomy, or of course the lack of knowledge of the teachers, or as you said now, Vasiliki, that okay, there was one MOOC, but still there is training required. So maybe the speakers could you elaborate a bit more on what were the barriers? What are the gaps you faced during implementation of bioeconomy at your school, in your teaching?
Can I say?
Yes, please. Yes, please go ahead.
My example, I did a work about the resources that there is so many resources there are in English or in Finnish, but if you talk about whole Europe or Israel, Turkey, there is no, in Hebrew we hardly have a few resources, so not many people know English fluently, so they don't, or they know, but they don't want to dedicate time to go through resources in English, and if they want to bring it to their students, so also students in primary, they don't know English well, and in secondary they know, but it's harder to do it in English than in a native language, so the translation, the lack of good resources on native language, it was one of the barriers for Israel, for example.
A very relevant point, yeah, that materials resources are only available in English. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Possible. We have the same problem in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
The same problem, yes. But for this year, the bioeconomy is curricular in civic education. And all teacher must teach a topic of the Agenda 2030, and the bioeconomy and circular economy is a part of this curricula. But a lot of the best part is in English.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But isn't it that, Ageda, that there's still this project that you can upload materials to the Scientix platform and then ask for translation here as well?
So the service has changed a bit. So now from January, what's going to happen is that we're going to have more like thematic periods. So when there's going to be connected to this STEM school label that tells you what kind of criteria or elements does a school have to fulfill to be a STEM school. And one of them is connection with real life. And for example, if during that period, teachers will be able to go to the platform and say which resources are very good and should be translated to many languages because they fit that criteria. And that's where the Bloom School materials or any other sustainability education or bioeconomy materials could then be translated if they get enough support from the teachers to say, yes, we need that one translated. Mm-hmm. So there is still a chance, but it goes through a bit of a more complicated process. But I do remember, for example, the Bloom school box materials, they keep getting more translations. I mean, we recently had a Finnish partner in the project who volunteered to translate some of the learning scenarios into Finnish that was not planned. So there's still always the possibility of having more contributions from the audience or from the public to actually translate that. Now, I just wanted to mention that Onorata has been able to join. So, hello. Onorata, we were actually talking about your learning scenario before, and we were wondering if you could share a bit more your experience when you were being part of the competition.
Yes. Good morning. So my name is Onorata. I'm from Portugal. I work in a vocational school. I work by project, and we made several projects with Bloom box. So I can.
So Ilse was wondering, what were the barriers that you had in order to integrate bioeconomy? Was there anything that you had to actually figure out or sort out in order to be able to do it?
Oh, the barrier is the pandemic. Oh, it's because we start to make the project at school. So we go to home, and it's different. It's difficult to make the laboratory experiences at school at home. It's difficult to me to make experiences at home.
That's definitely been something complicated for lots of schools. Also, I think we have the next question to be discussed.
Well, then there's the question, if there are barriers and gaps you faced during implementing bioeconomy, what are your needs? What would help you? Which kind of support do you need here? You mentioned further training, for example. Are there other needs?
I have the support of the parents, the families. I have a strong support of the families and the universities. So it's I can to put researchers in contact with my students in online meetings.
Mm-hmm. Which needs do others have?
I don't understand the question.
I'm also asking the other participants, Honorata, the other teachers we have here from other countries. We can share here experiences from other countries as well. And I think the situation might be different, but there are also similarities. So maybe also the other teachers could tell us what their needs are, what would support them in implementing bioeconomy.
Okay.
I can tell an example from Israel, because
Yes,
in primary and secondary middle school education, teachers have some freedom, so we can integrate it into curriculum or to do an enrichment programs. But in high school, from 10th to 12th grade, students, there is a marathon for matriculation exams, so there is no freedom that teacher can decide that he or she wants to do this subject and to implement it in the curriculum. So I want support from Ministry of Education to actually integrate it in biology or maybe geography or environment subject, and maybe it will appear in matriculation exams, so we can teach it for the exams, and the students will meet this subject also at high school. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do it.
I see some agreement here. What do other teachers say? So you also think so, Seppe?
Yes, it's actually almost the same in Belgium, but I have, as a secondary school teacher, I'm lucky. I have a lot of freedom at the moment. They are thinking about standardized exams as well. It would really help if they would put it in the curriculum. I have the freedom to incorporate it into different subjects, but if it would be explicit in the curriculum the government asks for me, it would really help, because that would also support me in integrating it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So if I may, that's something that, of course, it takes a while for the ministers to implement, but it would definitely help you. So we're saying that translation of materials and curriculum involvement would definitely help. We actually have a question from the audience, so thanks, Anna. You're saying that would a life science day on the topic of bioeconomy be a suitable introduction of the topic to the curriculum? It would be interesting if this day would be done by someone who is not a teacher, but maybe more of a bioeconomy professional, but still suited for children. This is the whole idea of bringing professionals to schools. Would that be useful for teachers and schools?
A good question.
What do you say? Tina, you're hesitating a bit. Maybe yes, maybe no. What's your opinion?
I introduced the bioeconomy school with a practical laboratory, and the student understand that the importance of bioeconomy. Then in Italy we have a sensitive for bioeconomies, and many students are studying for green job in Italy, such as agriculture, environmental engineering, environmental economy, biotechnology, and chemistry. There is a high sensibility for bioeconomy. Yes. And we have a different hackathon, and private industry make money for a new job, new opportunity for a student. It is very important. We have a lot of a competition for IT student, IT secondary level student. This is for me very important. Is the excellent period for improved bioeconomy and the circular of economy in Italy. I don't know in the rest of Europe.
Thank you for that.
My student studied the last year studied chemistry, biotechnology, and agriculture.
I guess it's not the case everywhere, but I think, Anna, one of the issues that I heard years ago was that when you have a day for something, you end up having a whole year of days for something, for different things, and they do have to go back to the curriculum. And while integrating in normal days, in normal subjects, it allows them a bit more flexibility to kind of integrate the different points. But that doesn't mean you cannot bring experts to actually participate. Oh, Anna, I can see you now. So it's actually a really good advantage to actually have experts coming in. And as you say, I really like the comment that you add, suited for children, because if you bring someone that is not used to talking to children, it actually be counterintuitive or actually have the opposite effect. Sepe, Stella, I'm not sure if you want to add there something. Sepe, please.
Yes, I think it's for a few reasons it would be helpful. Linking it to different professions, because a professional coming in can also make the link to a profession, and also giving it a bit more context, because in a school, when we teach, it's always in the context of a school and you have to learn. But if someone from outside can give a real perspective from daily life, it really helps give context and make the problem, because we were problem-based or inquiry-based, make it more real. And I think it really helps them, our students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. It's in Slovenia. I'm from Slovenia, so we have this system that we have like 3 or 4 life science days during the year. So I was thinking in this context if it would be, and I'm definitely not a teacher. I'm from bioeconomy, biotechnology field, but I think it's very important to present this topic to the kids. And my family, in my family there are a lot of teachers, that's why I'm more susceptible to this topic. But thank you.
Anna, may I actually ask you a question then for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So would you be interested in connecting remotely to the classes of some of the teachers and actually talking to them at some point? So now,
yeah, definitely. I'm very interested. I once did a class in biotechnology because I'm a biotechnologist, but I also then studied economics of natural resources. So now I'm in the bioeconomy field. And I would be very happy to do some collaboration to present this. And I saw this today, this approach that you're taking, so I can see more what is interesting for the kids and how to present these topics, because I'm more of higher education, but I can see the importance and the approaches you're taking. It's very interesting, and I think it will pay off in the long run.
Thank you very much, Anna, and maybe we can follow up later on how to get your presentation as well, to go to the wider Europe as well, on careers also in how to be a biotech.
Yeah, sure. I can leave my email in the chat box if you would like to write me, or and we can talk later.
Thank you. Ilse, I think you had some other question. Do you want to?
Well, yes, I think most of you really are like pioneers here, I have the impression, so that you're kind of the first ones to implement this subject at school. So my question to you is, what else should be done to reach out more to other educators and other teachers and schools in general to implement this interesting subject? Do you have any ideas here as well? Or how did you come to this topic? I hear somebody, but I don't know whom.
Honorata, how do you feel about being a pioneer in the topic and introducing?
I feel sad because I can't I get involved with other teachers because they don't go too further. they are they don't have many freedom to other questions about it's difficult. English teacher have I don't I can't say that, but it's difficult to me. My colleagues involved in these projects, because they are concerned about the curriculum, and it's I feel sad because my students love these projects. I have many cases of success, because I work in a vocational school. Students don't go to the university, but the students that work in these projects go to the university, and they are very good students. So I feel very sad because I can't involve other teachers in this way, in these methodologies.
It sounds sad as well. So you're mentioning something similar like Stella, that there's not really much freedom in curriculum here, but is there an interest from other teachers, from colleagues, and how to reach to them?
I can add, because teachers are very busy. So if you show them good lessons plan, or show them the Bloom school books, because most of them don't know that that exist. So if they will know about it, they can take prepared good learning scenarios and lessons plan from there. And also a recommendation to try to in interdisciplinary studies, because now the approach is switching to interdisciplinary. So few teachers sometimes don't know what we'll do together with math teacher, with art teacher. So there is a nice material that you can use in economy and biology and geography and chemistry. There are some fields that you can make something common and use them as a bioeconomy materials. It can be integrated in several subjects, and it can be integrated by interdisciplinary approach.
Other recommendations how to find some entry points? Yes, please.
Yes, I think that's the key, the resources, because a lot of teachers are a bit anxious about the transition to more multidisciplinary fields. They see their subjects change, and they're not sure how to create resources for that, because they have very specific knowledge on a specific subject and find it difficult to integrate. So if they can see the resources, and the Bloom school box is a very good example, if they can see it and they can use it, I think it can be very helpful for them.
And also from a strategic point of view, so not only very good resources and lessons plans, but also on a strategic level, what do you think are good entry points here to implement this topic more in schools?
Mainly curriculum, of course. It's the government that has to decide, it has to be done, and then it will be implemented. But because now it's up to the teacher to decide if it's a topic he can use or can introduce, but it's not something that is obligated. So if it's in the curriculum, it will be used. So I think that's a very important issue.
And how did other colleagues reacted to the things you've carried out in the school, and also you disseminated in the projects you've done? How was the reactions then from the colleagues?
Most very positive. Some have started using some of the resources as well in their subjects. Yeah, the biggest problem is English. Usually most teachers know English okay, but they don't feel very comfortable in using materials that are in English that much. So that's sometimes a problem. One thing that helps them is when I do a project together. So if if you say, when let's cooperate on a different subject, they're very much likely to get involved. So maybe build a community or trying to cooperate with different teachers can help them get aboard as well.
Mm-hmm. So spreading the word and building up community is a good way. And I think EON even did train the trainers, so that you had these teachers who taught other teachers, isn't it, Ageda?
Indeed, it always comes better when it's one teacher training another teacher and getting involved. But as Honorata was saying, it's tough if it stays only with the key teachers. So you kind of eventually, hopefully not soon, but Tina or Sepe or Stella, Honorata or Semi, they will get tired of being the ones kind of pulling the wagon in a way. So you do need to make sure that you can connect with other teachers. So it's not only about training other teachers, but connecting with each other and knowing that there's other really cool teachers around the world and that are willing to work and improve education together. So community and peer training are key in this aspect.
Yes. And here is something coming in the chat. Aha, so Simon cannot make himself heard because he's in a loud environment. He is working in science, communication, and bioeconomy in Germany, and also study again to become a teacher, and will definitely use some of the school boxes to try something new in the schools. That's very good to hear. Thank you very much, Simon. Ageda, if you could please move to the last slide, then here you see all our contacts here. So if you want to get in touch with us, especially with European SchoolNet on all these materials, please go ahead. And if you want to have more information on the Bloom project, just approach us. And there's also a very nice last event coming up in Bloom. And maybe Judith, would you like to tell us a few words on this final online closing exhibition of Bloom? Is this fine for you?
Yeah, that's fine for me. Thank you. I think for all of you who are now in the education workshop, it's in the afternoon. Maybe you could send me an email if you're interested, and then we will send you the link where you can register for this event. So it's in the afternoon. There will be like one session particularly on the school material, and it will be shown. So there's a showcasing, but also in the morning session, there will be the consortium, and we will discuss our experience in the whole Bloom School project. So it's not only, but also the Bloom School network and the work that EON did, but the hubs are also very important. So we did some work in regions, and we co-created in 5 different regions in Europe material. So you're very welcome to join us there. We would be looking forward to meeting you again.
And it's an online event, and of course there's no registration fee at all, and there will be 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and you can either attend them both or just one of them, so up to you. Yes, anybody last words to say, because I think we have to close then. I see some dogs coming here and some kids coming. Hello. Let's wave.
Thank you. I'm sorry I can't attend discussion because my son didn't remind. And say hello to everyone. Thank you for everything.
Thank you too, especially the teachers who told us about their experiences. Thank you very much for this excellent inputs, and thank you all to our guests. I think time is up. That was our workshop, and there's no plenary session. We don't go back to the big blue button, but there's another Zoom link where we all can meet and hear the results from the parallel groups, as far as I understood. And everybody of you should have this Zoom link, isn't it? If not, we can still share. No, it's not. It's only for the presenters, not for the attendees. Okay.
No, so there is no Zoom link, not as far as I know. So
okay, good. Then this is the end of our workshop here. Thank you, everybody, and have a nice day. And let's stay in touch and just contact us. Have a nice day.
Bye.